What is up, guys? It's your boy Rick on that grind cactus, and today we are going to be showcasing a weapon that I would highly recommend unlocking, crafting, and then leveling up in preparation for the upcoming Grandmaster Nightfalls. Now, those are going to hit Destiny 2 during Season of the Risen on April 5th. And I predict this could be a very big part of the Grandmaster loadout meta, and it's also a very accessible tool for newer players who don't usually do Grandmasters to have a tool in their arsenal that's going to help them overcome this challenge. Now, the weapon in question is the Pointed Inquiry Legendary Throne World Scout Rifle. And I barely see anyone utilizing this thing right now. It's not getting a lot of attention, but here's why I think it could end up being such a useful asset. So firstly, it's void. I mean, bruh, just the fact that it's void is going to elevate its power level substantially. Void 3.0 is the hotness. It is the meta. If you're not running around in Destiny 2 sucking every dude you see with vortex grenades, that might have come out wrong, but seriously, Hunter, Warlock, and Titan all have extremely viable endgame void builds that everyone is using, so the fact that this thing is going to work with Font of Might, volatile rounds, all of that stuff, it's going to trigger elemental armaments for your Well of Tenacity. It is so important that this thing is void, make no mistake. But there's more. It's also a scout rifle, and that is going to matter quite a bit because scout rifles are a featured anti-champion weapon as they have the ability to get anti-barrier rounds. So of course, in a lot of Grandmasters, you're going to have to deal with barrier champions, and so having something that can deal with that is essential. Then, the way that this weapon has its perk layout is also extremely good, specifically for that endgame style Grandmaster content. So, it has the ability to unlock Genesis right away. Now, this perk says breaking a combatant's shield with this weapon fills its magazine from reserves. Energy weapons generate ammo on hit when matching the damage type of the combatant's shield. So obviously, if this weapon's job is to go and bust down barrier champions' shields, having it instantly refill when you accomplish that goal so you can keep shooting that champion potentially or shoot something else is obviously quite good. However, if our goal with this weapon is to deal with champions, we can actually hone that ability even more so with the help of armor-piercing rounds. Here's what I mean. So, this is me solo in a Nightfall and dealing with a barrier champion with this weapon. So as you can see right here, I'm actually able to take down this barrier champion pretty darn fast. It puts up the barrier, and in about 3 shots, that barrier is down. However, sometimes it takes 2 shots. And obviously, being able to deal with a barrier champion's barrier that fast, just go pop, pop, and it's done, is extremely valuable. But it's, like I said, very inconsistent. It happens every once in a while. Most of the time, it's 3 shots. However, as you can see here, I take this weapon back to the Enclave, and I craft on, specifically, armor-piercing rounds. Now, I go back to that same champion, same conditions, and you can see it's 2 shots to take down that barrier every single time. So whereas before I would mostly take 3 shots and then rarely I would take 2 shots, now I never got a 3 shot again. It was always 2 shots. So that small increase in damage against combatant shields that armor-piercing rounds provides is enough to make a difference in this scenario, and again, we're just honing our weapon to be perfect at dealing with those barrier champions. But there's another perk here that we are really interested in, and that is the brand new perk, Adaptive Munitions. So that says this weapon adapts its damage output to be more effective against energy shields that don't match its damage type. So basically, you are giving the Arbalist's exotic ability 2 normal legendary weapons now, and with Grandmasters and a lot of other high-level activities, the match game modifier is always active. Like, you're always going to have match game. So having a weapon, like I said, a void weapon that gets all these other benefits that can also deal with solar shields. I mean, you're seeing that in the background gameplay. I was using this for normal Nightfalls, getting the 100Ks, and hey, I do have Shanks with solar shields, and I'm able to take those guys down in a pretty reasonable amount of time. If I wouldn't have adaptive munitions, oh my goodness, it would take the entire magazine, if not more, to deal with these guys. So that is super, super useful, having one weapon that can deal with every single type of shield, including Barrier Champion's shield. And that's also going to mean in stuff like Grandmasters, there's a lot of times where like one enemy you find during a strike has a certain element of shield. A great example is the Devil's Lair strike. At the very, very end, the servitors that you have to kill to be able to damage the boss, they have void shields. Nothing else in the entire darn strike has void shields until that point. So obviously being able to utilize something like this, I know it's already void, but still being able to utilize something like this to deal with those random shields, you know, it's so much better than someone else having to utilize a fully void weapon just for those very few enemies in this one particular section of a strike. But of course, that brings about the question, if adaptive munitions is good, is enhanced adaptive munitions worth it? Because in the description of the enhanced perk, it literally says it does more damage. Well, I decided to test that out as well, crafted the enhanced version of that perk onto my scout rifle. That's right, I utilized an entire rare Ascendant alloy for this video. If that's not worth a like, I don't know what is, but here are my results. So, with the normal version, shooting this arc shield on this fallen captain, this is how adaptive munitions works. So the first shot does the completely normal amount of damage, 1080. That's what I would be doing every single time if I didn't have this perk. The second shot, however, does more damage at 2796, third shot 4512, and then it caps out at 6228 damage, and you're going to be doing that until the shield is down. Now, as for the enhanced version of this perk, so the first shot is identical, 1080, then the second shot does a little bit more, 3139, the third shot does 5198, and then it caps out at 7257 damage. So certainly not like doubling the damage or anything like that, but it is outright doing more damage, which means especially when you're underleveled in something like a Grandmaster, enhanced adaptive munitions will absolutely let you take down those non-matching shields even faster. By the way, I also did test if it made any difference, if somehow enhanced adaptive munitions would do more damage against the barrier champion, and it didn't seem to. It was just doing the same damage, same two-shot kill as it was before. And so this scout rifle with armor-piercing rounds, Genesis, and then adaptive munitions, or potentially, if you want, enhanced adaptive munitions, if you got some extra resources to spare, is, I think, going to be a very useful tool for Grandmaster Nightfalls. It should be noted that the seasonal bow is also void, and it can also get adaptive munitions. However, obviously, it cannot get armor-piercing rounds, so it can't benefit from that cheeky little bonus to barrier champion shields, and for a lot of players, unless you're extremely lucky, it's going to be a lot harder to get the craftable version, get all the different deep sights of that seasonal bow than it is of just a throne world weapon. And so guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.